Here with analysis from Orem, Utah is Paul Mauro, former NYPD inspector and Fox News contributor. Also with me, Jay Collins, a Florida lieutenant governor and former Green Beret, familiar with these incredibly complex and frustrating outdoor areas where snipers can take clean shots of their intended targets. Paul, I want to start with you. You're on the ground there. What have you learned since you've landed?
Well, as you articulated, Laura, the press conference was scheduled for earlier today, and then it was canceled because of, quote-unquote, fast-breaking information that was coming in, and now we're awaiting Dan and Cash to come in, and they likely will run this press conference. My gut tells me that you don't get the two top people in the agency coming here to say we have nothing, so I do think we'll get an update. Looks like they have some solid stuff, but according to what I'm hearing right now, they do not have a name, and so they haven't really zeroed in on where they want to go on this. They have a pretty good travel log on what this shooter did subsequent to the shooting, where he went. But as of now, nobody has come forward in response to that photo, and they're still plugging away on all fronts. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, it's hard to see that photo clearly. There's all sorts of conjecture online, which we're not going to get into tonight. Jay, we understand that there are CCTV images regularly, supposedly monitored of this university setting, this college setting. And one would think that in a situation like this, those cameras would have been up, running, and monitored. But for whatever reason, these images weren't caught sufficiently, or were they were not monitored sufficiently for us to get a clear look at who was on that roof.
Yeah, Laura, that's obviously a huge gap in what went on there. And thank you for having me on here today. You would think that somewhere there is going to be video imagery that shows a clear line of sight, a clear visual of what the shooter looks like, whether it's coming down through the stairs somewhere out there. You got to hope, you got to think that somewhere out there there's some sort of image that we haven't seen yet. But yes, it's a problem, something that obviously should have been looked at a little bit closer going in. But, this is a kinetic situation. It's difficult. There was mass chaos, and hopefully they dig those things up. But we got to bring this guy to justice.
Jay, just of your experience as a Green Beret, tell us about that shot as you can envision it with your ability to do so tonight. People say, oh, he had to be a sniper. Did he? He didn't have to be a sniper to take that shot, did he? If nobody was coming up to him and no one was disturbing him?
Yeah, Laura, you're spot on. Look, he was using a 30-06 rifle with a 4x to 8x zoom. That's what it looked like in terms of a scope. That's a pretty standard projectile. For that kind of shot, for someone who's used the rifle a couple of times, I think you could safely make that shot and get targets where you wanted to and rounds where you wanted to. Unfortunately, somebody with a little experience can make that shot happen, and it was unobstructed. To your point, they had drop from the rooftop into the target zone, and unfortunately in this case it cost America a living legend in Charlie, and someone who was brave enough to use his voice for good.
Paul, we know multiple people were taken into custody yesterday and then released, and a lot of people wondering, was that just a waste of precious time when the real shooter was meanwhile, sauntering away?
Well, look, Laura, every investigation has its bad leads and blind alleys. The difference in this case is that they were more public than you usually get. Director Patel was being particularly transparent in what they were doing and what was going on. And so the information came out and looked like they had somebody at one point there. But this happens in many, many investigations. I do think that they're making progress. And I do think that the videotape that they pulled the still from is one of the real things here that is almost certainly going to be how we're going to get this. Somebody's going to recognize him. Somebody probably already has. And my understanding is that they're still sitting on video that they have not released. That video likely would show, let's say, the walk. So even if you're on the fence, walks are very, very telling. People recognize them. So if we don't get something soon, expect more videotape, maybe something about where the scope and the rifle came from. Scopes can be bought separate. They can trace this kind of thing. They have a number of nodes to go down here, and it's not like they have not made any progress. It looks to me like they can track him leaving campus. They can use the video to get him leaving campus. It goes dark when he leaves campus and gets out into the neighborhood. And according to what I've heard, likely was hopping backyards, still in the area. Then you have to assume maybe he got hold of a vehicle, got to a bicycle, a motorcycle, whatever, and then he got out of Dodge.
Lieutenant Governor, President Trump spoke tonight about the importance of safety. Watch.
Are you concerned for your own safety?
Not really. I'm really concerned for our country. We have a great country. We have a radical left group of lunatics out there, just absolute lunatics, and we're going to get that problem solved. I'm only concerned for the country. Yeah.
He's only concerned for the country, but the truth is tonight there are a lot of people who are very concerned about the state of discourse in the United States and the ramped up left-wing threats and violence and language that people are marinating in. I'm going to get into some of this in the angle because I'm very, very, very angry about this tonight, what was done to him. And this idea of this equivalency argument everyone's trying to make, bull.
Yeah, Laura, look, we have to look out for our nation. It's out of many one. Coming up on the 250th anniversary of this nation, our unique American principles, ideas, ideals, they matter. And I'm grateful that President Trump has the commitment, the courage, and frankly, the candor to speak about America first. But one, we got to make sure he stays safe. We protect him. He's doing an incredible job at serving our nation and leading from the front. But we, as conservatives, as the Republican Party, we've got to remember who Charlie was, what he fought for, how he used his voice to draw people together. The last things he talked about were God and love and making a difference in our communities and our country. I think his example will live on far beyond the scope of time relative to how long he would have lived if this tragic event hadn't happened. He was a legend in our times, and I'm grateful for what he did. But we have to remember that, and we have to honor that. And we got to make sure that that sacrifice is worthwhile.
Yeah, Paul, we understand that Air Force 2 has left Utah carrying the body of Charlie Kirk, returning him home where he lived with his wife and his 2 children. He set down roots there. It's where Turning Point was headquartered, and the scenes along the roadway there. I mean, if you're not crying watching that, I don't see how you have a heart.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing it here, even in the area where we are set up to do the media. There are students coming around tying yellow ribbons and red ribbons on trees. There are people coming up to us offering me condolences. I only met them once, as I recall. People feel it here. Well, you know, unfortunately, people don't want to come forward too much, though, because they know that there is a violent contingent out there. And, Laura, you and I both know, and I think this flew beneath the radar screen for a lot of people. For the young in this nation who listened to him at college and even earlier, I have family members in high school who listened to him, this is a JFK moment. For them, this is somebody they really loved and they really looked to. And for them, this is going to be one of those things where they're going to say, where were you when that happened? And what that means is, that means that this shooter is going to get exactly what he did not want, because this is only going to augment the legacy and the message that Charlie was putting out.
Paul, Lieutenant Governor, both of you, thank you very much tonight.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.